Hi, I'm Brian Finestein, CEO of St. Clair's Health, and welcome to Let's Talk Health. I'm here with Ken Mooney, who's going to share with us his journey for weight loss surgery. So Ken, it has been a long journey. Can you tell us your path and how you got to doing bariatric surgery?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it kind of all started many years ago. I've always had struggles with weight, overweight. Even in going back to high school, and it was always a struggle. It just got worse over the years, and I got to the point where I was 360 pounds. I was a type 2 diabetic. I was reliant on 2 different types of insulin, pills. And I just saw the trajectory of my life and where it was heading, and I wasn't a fan of what I saw. So I, had a friend of mine had the surgery here at St. Clair's, and I just decided to kind of take the dive. And my diabetes doctor was actually the one who said, you should look into this. It could save your life. And so I made the call, and that was 3.5 years ago now.
Can you tell us, though, a little bit? So you were up at 360. I'm guessing you've tried a lot of methods to get the weight down on your own.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, over the years, you try everything, all these different diet plans and, cutting things out completely and everything. But nothing really, when you're that big, it's very difficult to kind of get over that hump of starting to lose it, and also a lifestyle change. Because it's not just about dieting and stuff, it's completely changing how you view everything you do on a daily basis. The best thing about the weight loss surgery was that it kind of forces you to jumpstart that and change completely, because you're taking an opportunity to give yourself a second chance in life. So it was, yeah.
What was the trigger point for you? Because surgery is a big deal.
The trigger point was my nephews were born, and then I started thinking about, do I want a family one day? Do I want to be the dad that can't, chase after his kids or play ball with his kids because I get winded, or, I can't go on adventures with them, or, something as simple as, not fitting on a roller coaster. Those are things that are important to me. And when my nephews were born, it kind of was a light bulb gone off, and it was just something that I felt I needed to do this now before it was too late.
Okay, so you've made the decision. So now, how do you prepare yourself?
No matter how much they prepare you for it and try and get you to understand what it takes, one of the biggest things I can say is, if you're going down this path, make sure you have a therapist, because it's not just physical. There are so many mental aspects of, realizing that, when you're that big, you have an addiction to food. And when you come down off of that, it's very difficult. It wears and tears on you mentally and physically. And that was one of the biggest things. There were days where I would, because after the surgery, you can't really do much for the first 30 days. And that's when it really takes a mental toll on you, because you're not eating. You're used to eating for, relying on eating for serotonin or this or that. And when that all gets taken away, it's like pulling the plug on something that you've been used to your whole life. So one of my biggest things is just make sure that you are mentally prepared for it.
Okay.
And that was the toughest part. Over the 3.5 years, I've just kind of gotten good at regulating the food, and but one of the biggest things for me is I don't cut anything out of my diet. I just am conscious about what I eat and how much of each thing I eat. It was right after the surgery, I was really strict with myself. I cut out all carbs completely, and I realized that that's not sustainable and that's not healthy either. It's all about balance, and you have to just make sure all of your meals are balanced, that you get all of the food groups in. It comes back to the food groups from when you were a little kid, but really that's, because, I learned that, if you cut something out completely, your body's going to want it, and then you binge, and then it's a constant cycle. But I'm not afraid to have a piece of chocolate if I want, but I'm not going to eat an entire bag of chocolate. I'm going to have one piece. It's going to satisfy me. I'm Italian. I can't go without pasta. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. It's just not. But I have smaller portions and everything. And it's 3.5 years later, but I still get full, and I don't push it. That's how when you're 3.5 years post-op, you still have to listen to your body cues, in my opinion.
Okay, so you had the surgery. So how did the surgery, post-surgery, as well as recovery, was that as anticipated?
The doctors were really, really good with explaining every step of the way, and you have many post-op visits, things like that. So from a physical standpoint, it was, they prep you very, very well for that. Of course, there's going to be times where you struggle more than others, but overall, they did a really good job of preparing you for what you were going to go through. But really, you go through a kind of mental health questionnaire with a professional beforehand, but even that, it can't prepare you for the mental aspect of it. That was my biggest challenge.
Okay, but it sounds to me like the surgeons who were involved really, really did a nice job of preparing you.
Yeah, no, I never had any questions about what was to happen, and every step of the way they were extremely knowledgeable and kind of held your hand through it, because
Nice.
you're changing your entire life, and they kind of have to be. They
Yep.
have to be that supportive and stuff. And I've heard stories of other surgeons not on that same level, but the surgeons that I worked with were fantastic. So
Good to hear.
Yeah.
So your lifestyle has changed. You mentioned that. Can you expand on that? So how has it changed?
Well, the most important thing is that I can actually be physically active. I was at the point when I was 360 pounds that I couldn't even exercise because I would get tired and winded before I could even break a sweat. But also things, I grew up an active kid, even though I was always bigger. I liked doing things. I liked being outside. I liked playing sports. I'm almost 40 years old and I'm on a kickball league, and it's just little things like that, that you appreciate again. And being able to, I travel a lot for work, and being able to be comfortable on a plane is important. You don't think about those things when you're a smaller person, but when you go through many years of being on the larger side, everything changes, and most of it's for the better.
So what advice would you give someone who's contemplating having this surgery?
The best advice I could give is just to make the call. Don't be afraid. It's your life to live, and it was always a scary thing to think about before I did it. One of the things people ask me when they found out that I was going to come and do something like this was, what are you getting out of it? And for me, it's not. I don't care about anything as long as I can get people to make a call and give them a chance at a new life, and a new lifestyle, and being able to live happy and healthy again. Because that's, being overweight, it takes a toll on you, physically, mentally, emotionally. It's not easy, but the best message that I could give is just don't be afraid to make that call,
Okay.
and give yourself a chance.
Fair enough. Why did you pick Sinclair's?
So I had a friend of mine had the surgery before me, and she had nothing but great things to say about the entire process with the surgeons, with the staff. Every step of the way, she was completely happy with how they handled things, and for me it was kind of a no-brainer. Obviously it has to do with me being local. I live nearby, but also, everything, even the reviews online, all that stuff, it just made me feel comfortable knowing that I was going into this, with a staff, medical staff and surgeons that knew what they were doing, but also bedside manner is a huge important factor. You can be a great surgeon, but you also could be, not the greatest in terms of making you feel comfortable. And when I went and I saw my surgeon, and then even the day of, all the nurses and everything, they just made you feel comfortable. So
Right.
I have no regrets on it. I wouldn't change a thing. I was completely happy with how everything went.
Glad to hear that. So our tagline is around the corner, ahead of the curve. So that's about compassionate care, and it's also about the latest in technology. Did we fulfill that for you?
Absolutely. I mean, the process and how far the bariatric surgery has come over the years is pretty incredible to watch. I mean, I did a lot of research and everything, and the recovery time was quick. It was relatively painless, and every step of the way was a pretty much a breeze. From a physical standpoint. I mean, there's other aspects of it, but yeah, it was a great process.
It's great to hear, and it's great that you're sharing this and have shared this with our audience, so thank you. It is, as I'm sure the viewers can see, a very, very personal journey and a difficult one.
Yeah.
But you came out and you're looking great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So everyone, thank you for watching Let's Talk Health, and look for future events. You can follow us on Facebook or on YouTube, and if you have any other information you're looking for, please go to stclairs.com.